Welcome back to Fuller Hot Rods. Now, normally what we do is you're kind of following us around. We built this, we built that. But today we're actually going to do a little bit more, behind the scenes, actually watch it happening. And this is our team. This is our kind of normal day-to-day crew. Ben Buell, been here the longest. Dean Middleton is our new guy around the shop who's going to be kind of making sure that everything's happening. Brian Height does a lot of our sheet metal fabrication. This bike is going to Artistry and Iron. When you get to this point, we're about, what, 2 weeks out?
2 weeks.
And actually 2 weeks from today, if you look at this has got to be a finished riding bike for a show in Vegas. One of the cool things about it is just about every source that we've done this thing happens locally here in Atlanta. So all of our powder coating, our polishing, painting, everything that we blow apart and do is done here locally. So all that stuff takes real organization. And when you get into these time crunches, which you can see we're under, all that's got to happen in a very specific order. So today there's going to be a little bit of fabrication between these guys working, and there's going to be a little bit of coordination. There's going to be people dropping polish off and whatnot and stuff leaving. So it should be kind of an interesting, varied, kind of show. So cue the music. Okay, now this is Gary from Pro Plating and Polishing here in Atlanta. And he's been mad at me for about probably 3 years because I kind of went away from polish for a while. But now I'm back.
Thank you.
Going back to polish. And you can see why. We pulled this whole carb apart. These are our hubs that we had made. What we do is basically we try to get it as close as we can for him. So we'll try to sand it preferably to about 400 grit on all these pieces. But sometimes, sometimes we do better, sometimes we do worse. He did this wheel last week. I mean, look at that.
Hey.
So pretty. Takes a lot of care, not only to keep an eye on all this stuff, but to polish it out to a mirror finish. This one's stainless. We took all the bolts, and we pull them off of each piece. We label them, they come off each piece, we put them in the bag, and they have to literally manually go in and hand polish each piece. I mean, it's one of the coolest things you can possibly do. There's no substitute for like the artisans like we have that we work with. It's really, that's what makes custom cars, custom bikes.
Yeah.
It's what keeps bringing you back, is being able to, work with people like Gary. You put all these people together and you come out with these creations. This is our wheel we had made. You can see it just came back from the polisher, Gary, Pro Plating and Polishing here in Atlanta. Looks really good. Now the way we start is we design this piece. We like it to look more cast, so we actually go in and hand sand all these radiuses. You can see the difference. This one looks a lot more kind of cast and vintage. We're just always trying to get this a little bit more soft feel, so it kind of looks more like it's hand sculpted versus being stuck into a machine and made. So one of our little tricky things we've done, you see this is our battery box. If you come around the corner, you see this little stainless hinges. Now, open that up, look at there, there's your license plate. And you can put like your wallet or your phone, you can tuck it into here, hide it, so when you stop, if you want, you can, and then no one knows. hand carved my little bitty little logo out of steel. Psych! All right, get a little towel. Okay, so now we got our rocker box pretty much sanded. We got a few little spots left, but I'm gonna go ahead and put my logo in there. You know, in the old days, they would make these, you'd have a mold maker that would take and make you a piece like this and then cast your name right into it. So all the old vintage, you know, 30s, 40s, turn of the century hot rod parts always had this really cool casting of their logo in there. So to be able to kind of recreate that old process to me is a really neat thing to do, and one of those silly things that gets you excited. I'm using a little bit of filler here. I'm gonna go ahead and get the logo kind of lined up. And the big deal is, of course, I don't want to get too much in there, because if I get too much in those little crevices, it's going to be really hard to get it out, because you want to have enough, obviously, that it's going to stick, but then you don't want so much that you can't get it out, and it's got to be straight. So here's what I started with. You see that's the original. This is the new one. It looks a lot more beefy and smooth. Just kind of gives it, you know, just looks like a speed part instead of a factory part. Here's what she'll look like. And this tank is really high, so you'll really see it a lot. In the front, and then the rear will sit like this. So you'll face the dragster head from one side, and then you'll get the Fuller logo on the other, but I like it.